anyway to also remove you. So it was more like a typical case of you had done something that I mean, I was governor 2010 to 2014, and you removed me from office, and not the word removal. I mean, it was voted out. It was voted out. So to say. So what went wrong? I'm sure former Governor Fayemi would have gone to do his own work. What happened? How did it happen? So now he's back, and somehow he's been elected. Now that we are talking about the aftermath. So from what we saw in Ekiti elections, before the elections, the police has informed the general public that 30,000 police officers will be deployed. And you know a lot of issues came out from there. Why 30,000? Ekiti is a small state. Ekiti population is very few compared to other states. Ekiti is one of the smallest states in the federation. Why 30,000? Some had even used some comparative analysis. If you look at what happened in Anambra, that had 27,000 deployment. Edo, that had about 24,000 thereabout deployment. So Edo, Anambra, in terms of population-wise, and Ekiti, Ekiti is just like half of this population. So if you deploy 30,000, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. And that 30,000 police is minus civil defense, minus fire services, minus the army, minus the DSS, minus every other security architecture. So arguably, you will say that, let's say police is 30,000, then the other forces and you could see the agents of the political parties, not just one of them or two, they were all like,
trying to see,
you know, they want to see who, because the ballot paper was like, there was a way the ballot paper, if you take your hand this way and you pull it downward, you know the party that you have voted for. If you take your hand on this other side, the opposite side, if you take it downward, you know the party. So each of the parties were all negotiating anywhere. Then the next thing you see is that,
confirmation.
You know, that's now confirmation that, you know, that person leaves that polling unit, go to somewhere, get a tally, go to another corner. I tried to follow the corner. As soon as they saw me coming, they had to leave that area. But there was no way I could capture. Because again, security-wise, you have to also be careful as an individual. Because what we were doing was to capture evidence. Because whatever we say as an organization, we want to be sure that those evidence exist.
Yeah, the back.
If I were able to capture, but I did capture when they were doing this. I did. I captured it very well. I captured about 3 party agents who were like trying to get the vote. I captured it. So I have evidence of that. So I can present it anywhere. So, but I cannot tell you that there was something else that happened after that. And then they see it and you expect me to speak to it. I can't. For example, we know that people talk about Ekiti election was rigged. If Ekiti election was rigged, the onus is on those who believe they have the evidence. And they can use it. We had used what they call the snap and send. If you go on Twitter or on social media, just type snap and send, you're going to see all of our pictures, including result sheets. We were taking result sheets, we were pasting them. So we didn't have to wait to get them together. We didn't have to. We wanted people to see us it's coming out. So it was in real time. We were reporting in real time. So, but again, we had come back to then do a report to say, based on this that we've gotten, looking at the processes of INEC, there's a great deal of improvement.
I was going to ask just that.
INEC had improved. Maybe I'll just wait for you to ask the question.
No, you should go ahead.
INEC had improved greatly. At 7:05 on election day, I observed personnel material in a PU.
They were early arrivals.
That has never happened in recent time in any elections in Nigeria. The earliest officials get to polling unit from 8 a.m. In fact, the case in Bayelsa election in 2015 December that eventually led to the simultaneous accreditation and voting. In Bayelsa, in certain local government and wards and units, election material were arriving at 11. And whereas you are supposed to have closed polling at 2. So what happened was that because all of those things didn't happen, INEC said, okay, now we need to go back. And then if you remember that, in Bayelsa, there was a great deal of security challenge in Bayelsa, especially in southern Niger. So there was a comeback to, so let's review this case, let's review the scenario. We cannot afford to wait on voting on one hand. I mean, accreditation, people go home, come back afterward, come vote. The process, why don't you just marry the two? So that for the very first time, accreditation and voting happened in January of 2016 in Bayelsa State because of the peculiar challenge. So, but because of accreditation and voting happening simultaneously, there's been an improvement why voting should need to end early enough. I will argue that in Bayelsa, in Ekiti, for example, there's a particular PU in Ikere, in fact, that where the current deputy governor voted. As at 2 p.m., the people on the queue were still over 100. But the law says that everyone in the queue will vote until it ends. So voting in that PU ended about 4 p.m. But everyone on the queue voted. Before you now start putting those results together, and then before an announcement is made, it took them to like 5 o'clock. But in other units, by 3 o'clock, they were done, declaring results and all of that. So there was still some level of delay. But when I tried to find out what happened in that specific local government, the INEC official